A very good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for taking the time to join us today. Welcome to today's webinar on business agility with AI governance, unlocking the power of Liferay AI Hub. My name is Valerie, and I'm part of the marketing team at Liferay for Asia Pacific, and I will be your host and moderator for today's session. With me, we have Ankit Srivastava, Principal Solution Architect at Liferay APAC, who will be covering today's topic. Our webinar today focuses on a topic that many of you have been asking us to explore further, Liferay AI Hub. We've heard this consistently through the feedback and questions from our previous webinars and events, where many of you asked about AI Hub and how Liferay is approaching AI. So, we wanted to dedicate today's session to going beyond the AI conversation and taking a closer look at how enterprises can adopt AI in a way that is secure, governed, and ultimately enables greater business agility. With that, let me briefly walk you through today's agenda. We'll start with a quick look at market trends in enterprise digital platforms, essentially how we're moving from composable and connected platforms towards more intelligent, agentic, and autonomous digital experiences. From there, Ankit will take us into the AI story, looking at how AI is changing the way enterprises think about their digital platforms and why governance becomes increasingly important as AI moves from experimentation into real business processes. We'll then discuss AI in relation to business agility before diving into Liferay AI Hub and how it can help organizations build, deploy, and govern AI-powered experiences and agents. You'll also get a first look at Liferay AI Hub in action through a live product demonstration, so you can see how these concepts translate into practical enterprise use cases. We'll then wrap up with a Q&A session. So we encourage you to submit your question through the Q&A panel at any time during the presentation, and we'll address as many as we can during the Q&A segment. Please note that this webinar is being recorded, and the recording will be shared with you after the session. You'll also receive a short feedback survey at the end of the webinar. We'd really appreciate you taking a few minutes to complete it, as your feedback helps us improve future sessions and, more importantly, helps us understand which topics are most relevant to you and your business. And with that, let's get started. So between 2020 and 2025, many organizations focused on building composable digital platforms. The priority was flexibility, integration, and creating a more unified digital architecture that could adapt to changing business needs. But today, that conversation is evolving. Organizations are increasingly looking beyond connected platforms that can use AI to understand context, automate tasks, surface insights, assist users, and support decision-making. This is where we're seeing the next evolution of digital experience platforms, where we move from composable, connected platforms toward platforms that are intelligent, agentic, and increasingly autonomous. But this evolution also introduces a new challenge. How do enterprises give AI the freedom to act without losing control and without putting the organization's security and business at risk? When AI simply assists the user, the risk is relatively contained at the user level. But when AI agents can bypass legal, security, and can access information, interact with systems, and take action across business processes, enterprises need to know what AI can access, what it is allowed to do, and how those actions are governed. That's why the next generation of digital platforms isn't just adding intelligence. It's about creating the context, permissions, trusted data, and governance that allow AI to operate securely across the enterprise. So if there's one key takeaway that we want you to have from this webinar, it's that agentic AI creates intelligent digital experiences, but governance makes those same digital platforms enterprise ready. With that context, let's take a closer look at what this means for the enterprise and how Liferay is approaching the next generation of AI-ready digital experiences with Liferay AI Hub. I'll now hand over the time to Ankit. Ankit, please.
Thanks, Will. Thanks, everyone, for joining. Hope you are having a great day. My name is Ankit, and I'm working with Liferay Technology for more than 15 years. And today I will be talking more on the Liferay AI Hub offering. So moving to the next slide. If you see this quote, AI didn't follow the playbook. The reason behind that is If you have seen the previous, technologies or traditional enterprise tech, it came through a different channels. So if I move to the next slide, I explain you about I arrived differently. Like, so for example, the normal enterprise tech used to come through IT to procurement to legal, security, and rollout. But generative AI went directly to the employees through readily available tools. So most of the you who have joined, I believe, already using AI. Okay, maybe with your personal capacity or maybe your organization approved one, but everybody is exposed to that. Now, adoption became bottom up, not just top down, because employees are having access to the AI tools immediately. Now, adoption happened before readiness. The reason behind that is because employee or users started experimenting before formal AI strategies and policies were in place, which is a big concern. Now, Gen AI adoption accelerated rapidly. So I was reading some McKinsey reports, and it says that 65% of organizations reported regular Gen AI users in 2024, nearly double the level 10 months earlier. Now, usage often preceded governance, okay? And that's the reason this curve matters. So previous enterprise technology followed a controlled rollout. AI adoption is spread more like a wave than a rollout, okay? The challenge shifted from how do we deploy AI to how do we govern AI that employees are already using. Moving to the next slide. So I would just wanted to show you some facts about how AI is basically being adopted. So if you see this chart, uh, comparing it with the Chat GPT, TikTok, and Instagram, can you see like number of months taken for Chat GPT? So Chat GPT reached 100 million users in about 2 months, compared with 9 months for TikTok and 2.5 years for Instagram. But the more important story is what happened inside the workplace. Microsoft and LinkedIn found that 75% of the knowledge workers were using AI at work, and 78% of those AI users were bringing their own AI tools. Okay. So adoption was not simply waiting for IT to provide an approved solution. Employees were already experimenting. Even today, also, like, what if Claude release a new model? I think everybody is in a race to try out those models and use those models. So that creates a new enterprise challenge. How do we turn this bottom up adoption into a governed, secure, and scalable AI adoption? Moving to the next slide. So this is where the adoption curve becomes a governance challenge. Employees can experiment with AI within days or weeks, while enterprise governance involves policy, security, training, access controls, and risk assessment. The data support this gap. So if you, I was talking about some reports. So 75% of knowledge workers were already using AI at work, while 60% of the leaders said that their organization lacked a clear AI plan and vision. So again, this graph, what you see on the page, of course, this doesn't depict real data. I just try to define it as a conceptual, not measured data. But the point is the direction. Employee adoption can move faster than organizational readiness. Okay. And the goal is not to slow down the adoption, but it is to make governance move up the speed of the adoption. Okay. So moving to the next slide, where I will talk more about the risk, associated when we follow this ungoverned adoption. So few of the risks which I mentioned on the slide. Number one is shadow AI. So what are employees using exactly? So employee uses tool outside the approved ecosystems, risk confidential data, unknown retention, or no audit trail about them. Copy paste work. So most of us, when we know that this particular AI tool is not approved one, we copy something from your workspace, paste it into the AI tool, get the response, again paste it back. So AI sits outside business systems. Employees copy paste, validate, and manually update. Faster for individual, but not scalable at all. Context blindness. Again, everybody heard about the hallucination because your LLMs does not have the grounded data. They answer based on the data what they are trained for. Okay, so that's another challenge. Integration tax. So just to give you a real example, like even previous days, I also tried to integrate certain AI models in the past. I use REST integration, I use LangChain, right? But the main challenge was there is a heavy integration tax. Okay. So every team, every developer builds their own chatbot, own AI integration component, and then result is duplicated effort, fragile integrations, and maintenance burden. And the last one is model bias. So how much control do we have? So over reliance on one model provider create dependency. What if there is a model released by the Anthropic having a better performance than the model released in the Google model tree, right? So we should have some sort of a control and flexibility on choosing those models. That's a challenge. Now the takeaway is the problem is not the AI adoption. The problem is disconnected AI adoption. Okay. So moving to the next, I just wanted to explain one more challenge, which is, it will be easy for me to explain in the context of Liferay. So I believe most of you have used Liferay in multiple projects. So the key issue is AI can create a second security model. Okay. Now enterprise already have a trusted model because they use Liferay, they have users, they have roles, permission, workflows, and audit trails. In Liferay, these controls already protect content and business data. But the problem with the separate AI stake is AI tool often copy, index content elsewhere. They create their own permission, access rule, and audit trails. Now we have two security model that must stay synchronized. Okay. So where the risk appears, if DXP access change, if you change something at the portal side, does the AI index update immediately? If content is unpublished or restricted, can AI still access it? Can we prove that content AI retrieved with under whose permissions? Now, the operational impact is, I mean, if somehow you wanted to achieve, more system need to be managed, more sync job rules to maintain, more complexity for security, compliance, and audits. So key message is AI should not require a second security model. Okay, rather than it should be relying on your existing DXP, permissioning. It should be respecting those roles and permissions. Moving to the next slide. So again, the thing is, as I mentioned, that problem is not the AI adoption. The problem is disconnected AI adoption, and that's the problem Liferay AI Hub is designed to solve. I will explain more about it through the demo, but just to give you the introduction about it. Moving to the next slide. So for new users who not aware about the AI Hub, just to let you know that it's a SaaS-based standalone product for AI-powered productivity. It is designed for both developers and business users in the Liferay ecosystem. And what makes it different is it's a LLM agnostic. So it works with multiple AI providers. You can use ChatGPT models, you can use Claude, you can use Gemini, and even you can bring your own models also, right? It helps organization leverage their existing AI investments. It provide Liferay specific context to AI models. So remember I was talking about the hallucination where your models are not aware about your employee data, your customer data, partner data. So it can work with Liferay specific context. Now, key capabilities, there are certain Liferay managed AI agents. So value from day one. So there are certain agents which I will discuss is like how you can make your content smarter, shorter, longer, all those kind of AI tasks you can achieve. There's a visual agent builder. So in case tomorrow, if you want to build your own agent, there's a drag and drop feature available where someone who has worked with Liferay workflow, it is pretty easy for them, even for a business user also, it is easy for them to drag and drop and create that workflow. Pre-built data connectors. So you can also connect your third-party sites, third-party content to this so that you can have a proper RAG in place. And then front-end components. So it can help you create interactive AI experiences. So AI Hub brings AI into the Liferay context with flexibility, ready-to-use agents, and the tools to build your own. Moving to the next, where I'm going to discuss about AI have foundational pillars. So agent orchestration. So it will help you to move your work forward. It help you coordinate agents, tools, and workflows. It move beyond standalone chatbots to real business processes. It provides the contextual intelligence. So it helps you to understand your business. So ground AI in customer content, data, and user intent. Move from generic answers to the business relevant answers, right? So for example, if an employee asking about certain HR policy, I don't want my model should answer to a kind of a generic HR policy applicable to all the organization. I want HR policy only specific to my organization, right? Now, permission aware gateway. Now, this is a pretty important topic here because in Liferay, if you have worked with, you may have created multiple roles, permissions to manage your content, manage your files. The same permission logic can be applied to the model also. So model should be able to access only the data which is only authorized by the user. So for example, if a user doesn't have access to certain content or doesn't have access to view certain files, your model also should not get access to them and should not provide the data to the user. Low code studio, it can help you to build your agent faster. So it can create a AI experience without turning every use case into a custom project. Faster experimentation, lower cost, more reuse. And then last one is the model flexibility. So keep your choices. So again, you are okay with using Anthropic models, go ahead. You are okay with using Gemini, go ahead with that. So that's flexibility Liferay provides. So the key takeaway is built on your DXP, governed by your security, one platform, one model for trust, and less possibilities. So that's where the Liferay AI Hub is basically heading to. Moving to the next slide. So again, we keep talking about governance, right? Now, but how Liferay AI Hub help you with that? So first of all, logging, right? So what happened? I wanted to see each and every action taken by the agent. So every agent run should be visible. AI interaction should not be a black box. That's how it is achieved. Auditing, what did it do? Track tool calls, retrieved information and action, provide traceability and accountability. Permissions, who can access what. So of course it should respect the Liferay DXP roles and permission model. Retention, how long do we keep it? So for example, those audit logs I can keep from like 30 days to 730 days, so because there are certain organization compliance where you have to keep the audit reports for longer time, so you can do that. And then regulatory alignment, so support the direction of standards and regulations such as ISO, IEC 42001, and the EU AI Act. So governance is not an add-on; it is the foundation provided by the Liferay AI Hub. Okay, so this is just some sort of understanding about Liferay Hub AI Hub I wanted to cover. Now I would like to jump on the demo side, and we'll show you how does this AI Hub look like. And then I have also built a kind of a real example to explain you more about how you can build custom agents. I'm able to show you a landing page, AI Hub page is there, and these are the some out of the box or Liferay managed agents you can see in the section called latest agents. So you can use these AI tasks like change tone, fix spelling, grammar, improve writing, Liferay search, using Liferay CMS. So if I go to Liferay CMS quickly, let me. Okay. So if I go to CMS, I believe many of you would have already explored about Liferay CMS 2.0. So I'm just trying to show you that. Now for any content, if I go here, I said repeated content, I can select this and you will be able to find out multiple, AI task here, which is coming from the Liferay AI Hub. So if I click on make longer, it will take some time and then you will able to see some content. Moving to here, same way, there are multiple others available. And then you can also create chatbots using, Liferay AI Hub. I will discuss more about that very quickly. Just to let you know that in case you subscribe for Liferay AI Hub, Liferay team will provide you the credentials to access the AI Hub. And then how to connect with your Liferay instance is you should go into your AI Hub screen, and then inside your configuration tab, you should be able to provide your environment URL, and then you copy this client ID and client secret and pass it on to your Liferay DXP instance. So this is how you can integrate your Liferay instance to the AI Hub instance. Okay. Now, Very quickly, I'm moving to the agent builder section. Let me just go to the home section. So these are the some agents. Let me just take one example and explain about how it is done. So if I click on, let's say, fix spelling and grammar, so this agent is having like title. So of course you have to provide a title and then external reference code. Remember this, using this ERC, you should be able to call this agent from your chatbot or from other agents. Description is very necessary to understand it. So if you have done some coding on the uh, agentic side, you may be knowing that whenever a model calls the tools, tool description is really important. Same way here also, if you are defining your agent, the description is a key because let's say you are building some sort of orchestrator agent, and that agent will able to find out these agents based on the description. So if you put a very vague description like create order or something, create inventory, it can get confused if there are multiple agents having the similar kind of description. So your description should be shorter, but it should be letting the agent know that what's the actual problem is going to solve or what the actual work it is going to do. The rest about description. And then, of course, there are input, output variables, data sources, guardrails. We'll talk about that later. Very quickly, as I was mentioning about when you create an agent, it give you a drag and drop kind of screen. And if you have already worked with Calio workflow in Liferay, you may be familiar with this. But very quickly, I just wanted to show you this task, which is LLM task. So if you see, this is an LLM node. So it is pretty simple. Like you can see there's a prompt which tells agent to let LLM know that what to do. And then input variables, like what input you are passing. So in that case, I'm passing the whole content here. And then what will be the output variable and then the user message. This is the message will be passed on to the LLM and then you'll get the output and that output will be passed on the screen. So coming back to here, let me just show you that now it is ready. So I just tried to make it shorter. Now it is giving me this option. I'm discarding it. I'm keeping the old one. So same way, I'm moving to this one now. So this is how you can create. Let's say tomorrow, if you wanted to create much complex workflow, you can add multiple, nodes, multiple tasks. So if go and show you here, there are different types of. Let's say we want to call HTTP request to bring some data from a different service, and based on that, you want to call LLM, right? Depend upon your use case, you can define this workflow. I will try to showcase this with a different example. But right now, I'm just trying to show you what is there as a Liferay managed agents. Okay. Quickly moving to chatbots. So again, most of the time there may be a requirement if you are building customer portal, partner portal, or employee portal, you want to build a conversational agent where your employee can talk or your distributor can talk or partner can talk and find out the useful information. That's also pretty easy. So you can create a new chatbot, again external reference code, and then you can select which agent you want apply it to. So the first step is you define the data source. So in case if you wanted to bring the data from Liferay, you can call the headless APIs. If you wanted to call it from the third-party sources, you can define that as a data source. And then you define agent, and then your chatbot basically pick that agent to answer those questions, what customer ask, what partner ask, or what employee ask. Okay. And then very quickly, I would like to specifically mention 2 points here. One is instructions and the guardrails. As I have mentioned multiple times, a name called, governance. You can achieve governance using instructions and guardrails too. So, I mean, of course, the life rules based permissions can be respected, but now what is instruction and what is guardrails? Okay, so every agent. So, for example, if you have seen change tone, it has something called guardrails. Okay, so if you come down, here's a guardrails. You can define the guardrails. So let me explain very quickly what is these all two. So instruction is a reusable block of guidance that AI Hub applies to an agent at runtime. So it defines an instruction once and AI Hub applies it to almost every agent. So for example, your branding, your product categories, all those kind of instructions you can apply. Now guardrail is a different one. So it is kind of a filter. So for example, let's say somebody writes a prompt, and then that prompt goes to your model. So before that, if you wanted to restrict something on input, and even once your response comes out, you wanted to restrict certain output. So for example, I wanted to call out certain, let's say, malicious words or abusive words, I can define that as a part of the guardrails. So that's how you can control input and output. Okay. So these are the two things I wanted to quickly discuss. Data source, as I mentioned, that you can call out a different site or different content from there. Now, again, this is used for the RAG. So in case of you wanted to ground your LLMs to a certain data source, that's doable here. Now, pretty quickly, I would like to show you a custom, workflow which I created using Liferay AI Hub. So let me share you that. So what I did here, if you see, I created a fictional company called NovaFab, and NovaFab is a manufacturing company for printers, and it has given a self-service portal to their customers. So if you have worked with Liferay for B2B case, Liferay provides the accounts, and that's how you can see there are multiple accounts for different companies who can log in into this portal and can access different details, right? So if you see their page, there's some branding about the printers. There are some branding about how they are providing the premium services. So very quickly, I would like to move to something called EduPrint Academy. So EduPrint Academy is a university which has bought multiple printers from this company, and they can find out what are different printers are available here, what versions of firmware it is installed. Now, suddenly, let's say I found an issue as a EduPrint Academy user. I found issues with the printers. I would simply go to tickets tab, and I can create tickets. So right now you can see the last ticket was created on May 29th, but let me create a new ticket here, and let me paste content. So again, as a customer, I'm not worried about defining the category. I'm not worried about defining the priority. That part, I mean, I don't want, as a company, as a manufacturer, I don't want to give that task to the customer. Okay, so I'm just asking customer to define the problem in a very plain word. So you see that title, random job failure, and I explained about the situation, like our students randomly run into problem with one of the printer whose CL number is this, and explain my problem. Now I submit it. Now in the backend, now AI, so if you see this, the label is AI assisted. So in the backend, AI agent is processing it. Okay. And I will tell you what is the output. Okay. But before that, let me show you what I have configured for this agent. So let me go to AI Hub, and I go to Agent Builder. So you see the ticket support advisor. This is the one agent which I created specifically for this task. Same thing, name, external reference code, input variable, advice, etc. Okay. And if I wanted to see the workflow, I click on here. You see the earlier one, which I showed the Liferay managed out of the box, that was pretty simple one. But here, what I did is I am trying to fetch the current date, and then I'm loading the playbook knowledge base. Again, now your question would be from where this playbook, from where this knowledge base is getting loaded. So these are some objects we have created. So in CMS, we have created knowledge base, playbook, so that your agent can be grounded to them rather than giving a generic answer, because you have to train your agent, right? So agent will fetch this data like playbook data, knowledge base data, and the previous ticket information, because agent can also find out what happened with this customer in the past few days, and accordingly it can bring all the information here. And once it is done, this is the actual LLM task. So again, you see the system prompt where we have explained all the details to the agent, and this will pass on to the LLM. Now, what are the input variables I have defined here? What are the output variable I have defined here? And then what's the actual user message? It's a user message which goes to the LLM. This is the actual message which goes in. Okay. and this will provide kind of a output. At the same time, it will also analyze the output and find out if there is a commercial opportunity, right? So, for example, okay, the customer has created a ticket, but there are problems with their printer that need to be upgraded, or they need to buy some premium support. So those kind of, it can also help the creating the commercial opportunity. So this is just some explanation about what's happening in the backend. Moving to the screen here, let me go to the tickets app. Okay, so this was the job I created, or this was the ticket I created. And if I go to view this ticket, you see, this is the analysis done by AI agent. Okay, it find out all the details from that playbook, your error code, knowledge base, and then it identify the risk assessment and everything. Now, as a support user, you do not need to go to each and every detail. You can quickly go to recommended alternatives or resolution. Right? What should be done? Okay, it has provided all this information. Not only that, as I was talking about, it can also help creating the sales opportunity. So if I go to sales opportunity, it also created one opportunity here, which you can pass on to your account executives, and they can find out, hey, I think they customer need to buy a monitoring package, or customer need to buy a premium support plan, and that's how it can help you to basically provide your business intelligence rather than relying on manual efforts. Your AI agents can do this at automation on your behalf. So that's all. This is, I just wanted to cover about the possibilities of AI Hub, offering.
All right. Thank you so much, Ankit, for the insightful presentation as well as that very detailed demo on how Liferay AI Hub can help organizations build, deploy, and govern AI-powered experiences and agents. So we'll now head into our Q&A segment. So we now open the floor for any questions you may have, and you can submit any questions through the Q&A panel. So if you can't see where the Q&A panel is, it's under the three dots at the very end of the navigation menu under More, and you can go to Q&A. So right now we have one Q&A. Thanks so much, Admaram. So the question is, when we use Liferay AI Hub with our enterprise data and content, does any of that data leave the Liferay ecosystem or get sent to external third-party AI models or services? If yes, what data is transmitted? Where is it processed, stored? What controls are available for data residency, privacy, retention, and preventing our data from being used to train external AI models? Ankit, please.
Yeah, I think this is a great question, right? So, I would like to explain here is, of course, I mean, because you are using in the backend certain models. So we have certain policies and agreement where the data which we are passing, this will not be used for the training the models, but you can also apply, as I said, that guardrails. You can also apply the instructions, and that's where you can define like, hey, although I'm passing my data residency should be living in Liferay, but certain data which I'm passing, this should be treated in a different way. So, for example, I should not want to disclose the employee email address. I don't want to expose my invoice number. All those things I can share. So this can be achieved with, using Liferay instructions and the guardrails to have a better governance.
Thanks for that, Ankit. We have another one for Rohit. How can we use AI Hub in self-hosted?
Yeah, so in case if you want to use Liferay with the self-hosted, so first thing you have to check about the Liferay version, okay? Because I mean, you need to understand that the scope of AI Hub functioning is also depends upon the version of Liferay which you are using. So if you are on the Q1 2026 or above, I mean, you are going to get most of the capabilities. And now question is how you are going to access it. Again, as I said that if your self-hosted instance is publicly accessible, I mean, there's a because AI Hub is a SaaS instance. It need to have a public. I mean, your site has need to have a public address. So once it is there, you can just go to your AI Hub and provide your environment URL. Client and secret need to be there. It has to be passed on to your self-hosted instance, and that's how it's going to work. I'm using AI Hub for the self-hosted one only in this demo.
All right. So if you guys have any more questions, please feel free to submit them. We still have some more. The next one is, can Liferay AI Hub be used to non-DXP, non-commercial Liferay instances?
Yes, it can be used because all those agents, what I was trying to show you on the screen, we will be exposing them as an API. So you can consume those agents, you can call those APIs through your external systems also, non-DXP systems also.
Yep. Okay. So the answer is yes. Next one from Rohit. How can AI Hub replace or ease the traditional business process flow?
Yeah, I mean it depends upon. So again, I would say that when you are trying to automate certain things with the AI, I think first thing you need to check with that, like, is it really kind of a deterministic workflow, or is it kind of a dynamic thing, right? So that's where I would not say that you start with like automating everything, but you find out the most critical case and which can be automated. The data you have, the model can be trained. Yeah, that's how you have to start with.
Okay, thanks, Ankit. We still have some more time for a few more questions. So I would say that this is high time for you guys. If you have any questions that you'd like to share with us, I think this is the right time to ask now. But I do have some a question for Ankit, like because you know that there's a lot of LLM models right now. There's a lot of companies also deploying their own AI agents. So how is this different from just let's say wiring up, our like let's say OpenAI API ourselves?
Yeah. So again, even in the past, I have done certain integrations directly with Liferay to the different models using LangChain or using the REST endpoints. But the main concern is they are good for the POC phase because and they are good for like one use case or two use cases. But when you have to have multiple kind of automations or multiple kind of agentic use cases, the governance becomes the main factor, because then the challenge comes. I wanted to see for this particular use case how my agent is behaving. I wanted to see whole audit. I also wanted to make sure that the agent is grounded to my data. I also wanted to make sure that agent is respecting my roles and permissioning. So that's where it adds the more value, the Liferay AI Hub. So those other tools can help you to build only the agent, but it can give you the platform where you can orchestrate your agents. So just consider this point here.
Thanks, Ankit. We do have space for one more question for anyone on the floor who would like to um, ask any doubts or clarifications that you may have regarding Liferay AI Hub. Also, please don't forget to fill out our survey at the end of the webinar. So, all right, so we have another question. What is the cost of using AI Hub?
Yeah, so there are different models. I will say different tiers actually. So you can always reach out to our sales team, which I think Val will provide the contact, because it depends upon your need. So we will assess your business requirement, and accordingly we can suggest you which tier is the better fit for you. Okay.
Okay, so I think we have another question from Nishita about the new CMS. So previously we were using Liferay's drag and drop approach to render web content on page, but now we have separate CMS. So how should we go with that in future projects? Is it to use headless API to call web content, or to still use drag and drop?
Okay, so this is not related with the AI Hub, but yeah, I will answer it. So now with the new CMS, you can use those new CMS component using collections or using fragments. So of course, those web content display was pretty hard coded thing. Like, so for example, until unless your business users are not aware about how Life CMS works, so it was kind of a very classic CMS where so with the CMS 2.0, we are moving towards a headless approach. So you build your CMS there, but you can call out using the collection display and the fragments. And of course, in case of if you are building a separate interface with a different technology, you can call headless APIs.
All right. I think let's close the Q&A session. Wait, we have one more. Can AI Hub be used in the CMS and how?
Okay, so I'm assuming your question is like how we can use AI Hub with the Liferay CMS. So remember, I was talking about multiple AI tasks available through the Liferay management AI agent, Liferay managed AI agents, like make it shorter, make it longer, change the tone. So all those are part of your CMS. At the same time, we have also something called AI content creator. Okay, which can help you. Let's say you pass on your topic and then you provide your temperature, how and what is your tone, and accordingly it will generate the content. We also have something called AI assistance. So rather than you defining only content, you also wanted to create something for like your whole complete site, complete page. Even that also is doable. So these are all features will coming up in the CMS.
All right, I think there's a lot of talk about CMS, our new headless CMS. So I think this is something that we could potentially explore as maybe a future topic for you guys to learn about. But for now, let's see. Okay, we have only have space for these last two questions, and then we'll close the Q&A. So the chat box, it says, how can Liferay AI Hub help in migration of applications one version into the latest versions?
Can you repeat that question again?
How can Liferay AI Hub help in migration of applications from one version into the latest versions?
So depends upon, so for example, let's say if you are bringing in data from, let's say, a third party site to the Liferay, you want to build the complete site into the Liferay, you can use certain agents which can crawl or do some web scraping, bring in that data and create that content into the Liferay. Same way, let's say if you wanted to pull in data from a different system, your agent would be calling those APIs and can get the data and pass on into the Liferay. So this is doable, but it seems to me more kind of a deterministic workflow rather than a dynamic AI use case.
Okay, this is our final question of the day before we wrap up. Any performance concern of using AI Hub in the application?
No, as such, we are not aware of. But the only thing is, you need to think about how much data you are going to process. You are not passing on, you're not doing the context stuffing. Like, for example, to your agent, you are just giving them like hundreds of files to, read that, because that in that case, your agents may behave wrongly because they may have lot of data into their prompt. So those kind of, generic AI facts matter here also. So we have to consider those.
Okay, thank you so much, Ankit, and thank you so much for all of your wonderful questions. I think we did discuss a lot from this webinar, and now I'll just wrap up the Q&A session. And with that, we've come to the end of today's session. We hope this webinar has given you a clear understanding of how organizations can adopt AI with the right balance of intelligence, governance, and control, and how Liferay AI Hub can help enable more intelligent, enterprise-ready digital experiences. So if you'd like to explore how AI Hub can support your organization's AI strategy and unlock greater business agility, please feel free to reach out to our APAC pre-sales team using the contact details shown on the screen. So for Southeast Asia, you can go to sales-sg@liferay.com. For India, sales-in@liferay.com. And for Australia and New Zealand, you can go to sales-anz@liferay.com. So if we have some upcoming webinars coming up, not just from the Asia Pacific region, but from other regions as well. So you can just head over to our Liferay LinkedIn page or even our events page at Liferay to find out more. So with that, thank you again for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you again in our next webinars.